Live from the Koenig Wheel Studios, it's The Hype is Right. 5 cars, 4 contestants, and a whole lot of opinions. Let's play.
Let's bring out the cars for today. Our contestants for today.
Hi, I'm Ali from GoGoGear Racing, and we build cars, we race cars, I write about cars, and today we're going to talk about cars.
Hi, my name is Lanz, and I race a C5 Corvette in the NASA series. I also drift a C6 Corvette in slush kickers and anything local race.
What's up? I'm doing another Hype is Right. You guys know who I am.
Hi, I'm Nick Noback. And I'm Greg Bucell. And this is Hype is Right. All right, FD RX-7. Nikki, what do you think about it?
I think they're sick.
FD RX-7.
All right, RX-7
is one of my favorite cars, the FD RX-7. When the FD RX-7 first came out in '93, I really wanted one so bad.
This is a cool car, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that this car is overhyped. Now, before you fanboys go ahead and murder me, please understand, what I mean by overhyped is the car originally when it came out, I think was perfectly a great car. I would even go maybe underhyped in that level.
Borderline overhyped. Pretty much Fast and Furious, when that car came out, it just looks so amazing with that body kit.
I'm dead serious, okay? The stories are true. Rotaries are poop.
You know, we find out that rotaries are a lot of work.
I think I can't fit inside of one, and I'm claustrophobic.
Well, crap, if you can't fit inside one, I definitely can.
I know you can't.
They're pretty expensive, I believe, on the market. The ones you find for cheap are really beat up.
The cars are going for a ridiculous amount of money. So
one of my sponsors at the time was a Mazda shop. They told me, don't get one, because they were just not reliable.
I think it's overrated.
I think it's a little overhyped.
Anything, I think it's a well-balanced car.
And here's the thing, I think the FD RX-7 was a good 50-50 weight balance car.
Not overhyped because it was legendary. It was so lightweight for its time.
Working on rotaries, not my cup of tea. Either just right or on the borderline of overhyped.
But I think it's just right. I think it's a really cool car, but it has its issues. I like reliable cars.
I think on its own merit, it was a cool car, but now you're starting to see other players I think you can find for a more affordable price tag, and that's why I think the car is overhyped.
Next up, the Lotus Elise.
Lotus Elise.
A Lotus Elise. All right, so this car I think is just right. However, I will say this. There is a big difference to me in what you get from an S1 to S2 to S3.
So the coolest thing about the Lotus Elise, it's actually still to this day has the fastest track time at the Nürburgring.
The Elise was an amazing car. When it came out, it was legendary because of its lightweight, the usual Lotus stuff.
It does not weigh anything. It's pretty quick for a small motor that it has. Also, there's a wide range of Lotus Elises. I think this car's been around since the 90s.
Pretty tight, yeah.
How fast?
Yeah. It's like sub 1 minute or something like that. It's gnarly. No, that's the Suba.
More people are gonna be watching.
Okay. I know. Okay, this is what I know about the stupid Lotus. It's got like a Toyota engine.
A lot of these engines, in fact, most of them, I think in all the generations except for the K series, they're all Toyota powered, right? 2ZZs, 2ZRs.
Isn't it supercharged too?
I think you can get them supercharged.
I actually got to race a couple of these Lotuses and the Elise and Exige in Laguna Seca a few times, and they were amazing cars.
Great car if you're going to hit the track. It's really known for being that.
I remember back in the day, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, when I was racing autocross, there was one guy with a Lotus that would pretty much destroy everyone fairly easily.
I like used the car in like Forza a couple times, like I had to earn my license. Like I never bought one in Forza because I'm like, ugh.
I would never want to own one because they felt like kid cars.
A lot of the generation cars, they didn't have power steering, they were pretty stripped out.
Everything shook and there was vibrations and you had a metal floor.
But for a car that weighs about 2,000 pounds, this thing really can lay it down.
It was a really fun race car and you really feel connected to the road, which I really like.
It handled awesome, and so I believe that's why people pay the amount of money that they paid for the Lotuses. But I think overall it's just right. It should be where it's at.
I don't think I would ever fit in one.
No, dude.
There's a lot of cars I don't fit in.
Dude, you only fit in the Corvette. It's for Americans, made by Americans.
I think that if you're a track-oriented person, a real motorsport person, I think that this car is really cool.
They're very involved in racing, F1. So that's why I will give it a just right.
I think it's a European MR2. No, I think the car's trash.
As a race car, it was awesome. As a street car, not so much. If you find a good deal on a Lotus Elise, get one. Just make sure you have a handy Lotus mechanic nearby because they're not the easiest cars to work on. The engine's just crammed in there.
All right, so C6 Corvette.
The Chevrolet Corvette C6.
C6 Corvette, tell me why it's the best car ever made.
The Corvette is one of those cars. Anybody who wants a sports car but doesn't know anything about a sports car, their image is a Chevrolet Corvette.
You guys are gonna say I'm a bit biased because that's all I race and drift.
You just go on a tangent of why it's perfect, why it's the best car ever made.
I mean, it ain't no BMW, but
This is basically a vet, man.
I think the C6 Corvette doesn't necessarily get a good enough rap, not only in motorsport, but in kind of the aftermarket setting. See, what happens is, it's looked at as a very domestic car. So a lot of the guys that are really sport compact or import related, they tend not to look at these cars, but they have no problem putting an LS swap into one of their S chassis cars.
I drive this car, I race them, and I drift them because of how affordable they are. And you guys are gonna say Corvettes are not cheap, and that's right, they are not cheap. But you do not have to be swapping motors into it.
They are awesome cars because they're bargains these days.
it's AA arm suspension, factory LS, multiple different configurations for the LS. You can have supercharged ones, you can have NA, dry sump, wet sump.
A Tremec transmission right from the factory. It's a really stout transmission. You get an LS3 and an LS7, and depending on which version you end up getting, especially if you graduate yourself into like a C6, Z06, these cars are incredibly well equipped.
It's a great race car from factory. You will take everything apart and it already is a race car.
And just put a roll cage in it, boom, race car.
There's not much you can get that's faster at a better price than the C6 Corvette these days.
There used to be a Corvette in FD that still had AC and a stereo in it.
An OnStar.
Did it still
Yeah,
have
it had the button. I don't know if it was, yeah.
Anything goes wrong with that motor, you can find parts so easily.
Best car ever made?
It's definitely up there.
Fast, torquey, and they come with so many good parts right out of the box.
Parts are cheap, it's easy to work on, and you have to deal with that cheap interior and the shoddy craftsmanship.
Other than the cheeseball interior, where it's just like a Chevy Silverado, which we're gonna look past, nobody talks about the interior when they talk about Corvettes. It's trash.
Typical of GM products in the time era.
I think the C6 is just one of those cars that will be a timeless car.
Just right. If it was cheaper, it'd be on the high. I believe it's just right for the C6 Corvette.
If I had to start from scratch, I would start with the Corvette.
And price is right. So I would say it's underhyped. Get one while the prices are still good.
I think it's perfect.
I think it's perfect. I think they need to reproduce the Corvette since 1965 and up. Just reproduce them all.
All right, so the S2000.
Honda S2000.
Honda S2000.
The S2000 is an amazing car. It's so fun, so potent. That motor is amazing. The shift linkage is probably the best shift linkage in the world.
S2000 is a car that I feel is just right, and here's why. The car has gone through its periods of value, right?
I think they're cool. A little small for a big guy like me.
Yeah, but I think it's still bigger than the FD. I mean, it's a 4-cylinder, so it doesn't have a rotary engine, and high revving.
It's a great car, don't get me wrong. I love driving them. Stock, it's a really fun car to drive.
My only complaint I ever had with the S2000 was the fact that if you drive one, it kind of feels slow.
Then you have to deal with the oversteer problem because you just can't put the power down because it really likes to oversteer, which is fun, but it's not very fast, so you have to deal with that.
The F20C wasn't necessarily known for being this big power engine. If anything, I think it's under torqued. So you don't have a lot of that torque, that jerky feeling. I guess that can be good in some instances, but I think if you can put a K24 into these cars, man, that changes the game.
I think the hype is right.
I think they sound great. I think they're affordable. Don't go 100 miles per hour with the top down. Don't do 100 miles per hour with the top down. They get squirrely. Found that out.
This is a car I think is very comparable to a Mazda Miata, and before you go freak out on me, let me explain that the Mazda Miata was another one of those cars I think in the power realm kind of is compatible.
Some people say it's like the better Miata. I don't know about that. It's price for price. I would go with a Miata.
It's an amazing car. It's definitely underhyped because they're still, you can still find good deals on them.
Cool car, has every bit of the Japanese culture that you expect from a Honda vehicle, and I think they're still reasonably affordably priced for what you're getting.
I think they're underrated. I think more people smile.